Hey, friend. Happy Wednesday. I hope that you are getting over the hump of Wednesday. Tomorrow starts the back end slide into Thursday and Friday, and then home stretch. We're into the weekend. It's so good to see you. Hi, big highs to Jen and Jeff and Giacomo and Melanie and Harsh. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you guys this lovely Wednesday. If you're new here, you might notice that the chat is sort of where the fun things are taking place. It is where everybody else is going to be serving up their favorite tips and tricks and recommendations and things that work well from them. So as much as I am going to hopefully share everything that's working for me and everything that I think you should know about, I also think there's some smart people over here that you should also be paying attention to and also have a bunch of smart tips and tricks. Today's session is going to be diving into all things LinkedIn and geeking out over LinkedIn profiles and getting a chance to review those together, because sometimes when you are making changes or you're thinking about making a change, you're sort of in an echo chamber. You are just thinking about that change and you might not have other, like I said before, smart, interesting, talented humans to bounce those ideas off of, or to say, I just made this change and do you think this is any good? So that is my own special effect. That is why you might be here today, because we are going to be doing all of that together. So this is how it's going to work. We have a sparkly, cool, fun, confetti-filled plugin that when you put in a certain hashtag into this chat, it enters you into a raffle. And if you are the winner of that raffle, all of us, and I do mean all of us that are here together today, will dive into your profile and just kind of give a quick 1 to 2 minute, here's what we think you can improve. Here's some things that aren't really clear. And again, it's not just me. You're getting the whole kit and caboodle that's going to help you make sure that you are set up for success, that you are set up for those recruiters, for those new clients, for those executives that might be checking you out. We want to make sure that you are looking your very, very best. And, we kind of should do that together. So like Martin said, not only am I the best, we're all the best. We're all the best here. So the things that you are going to drop into the chat is you are going to do hashtag, little tic-tac-toe sign. You're going to drop hashtag LinkedIn into the chat if you want to be featured. If you're kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want my profile to be shown here with everybody, don't put in hashtag LinkedIn. If you came to this session because you're like, yes, people, that is what I want. Right now, you're going to drop hashtag LinkedIn into the chat. But as you're doing that, as you're like debating in your mind, am I going to do this or not? I wanted to go over some super quick hits that you may or may not already know about. So if you already know about these, I'd love to hear your opinions. But if not, I want to give you 3 little hot tip takeaways that are new to LinkedIn in the last 90 days. So if you haven't been paying attention, if you haven't been joining the quarterly Microsoft calls, Microsoft is who owns LinkedIn. I did that for you. So don't worry. You just copied my homework. Here are the 3 things that you may or may not already know about LinkedIn. So I'm going to share my screen just to show these to you so that you can kind of get an idea of what's going on. First and foremost, and I know it is a bit of a hot topic right now, so, let it be known. LinkedIn is big capital yes on this, using your data to train its AI models and its AI algorithms. So when you think of ChatGPT, when you think of Perplexity, when you think of some of these things, how do those systems learn? How does ChatGPT learn? How does Perplexity learn? How does Claude learn? All of these different platforms, whether it is Facebook or LinkedIn or TikTok or any of these social media platforms, they are learning on you. You are the rats in this experiment. I don't want to call anybody a rat, but when you hear about those experiments, like, oh, they tested this on mice. we're the mice. We're the three blind mice. So if you're like, Kim, I don't really feel like being the three blind mice. I don't really want these algorithms learning on me, learning on my content. We will drop this in the chat, this link, but there is a way on your LinkedIn preferences. It's going to look like this, that you can turn off or on. So you can see there's a toggle button here. You can turn off or on sharing your information with the AI regenerative algorithm for LinkedIn. So again, if you're like, I got nothing to hide here, they can learn on my AI all day long, whatever, leave it toggled on. LinkedIn thanks you. If you're like, ooh, I didn't know about that, that is news to me, I don't want them learning on my content, then you can toggle it off. The reason I'm bringing this up is they did sort of like a soft launch on this where they just kind of like did it, and there were like a couple notifications on, your little notification tab when you sign into the platform. But if you're like me, sometimes I like ignore those, or like I read them and I think to myself, I need to do something, and then I forget because my mind is like a sieve. So if you were like me and you kind of saw that and you're like, oh, I need to look into that, this is your reminder. Again, toggle on or off at your own will. Maybe Jeff or Yvonne can add in the chat kind of what they did or what they were thinking of it. But, to Jen's point, in terms of like pros and cons, who knows what all of the AI is learning about us and what could be used on us in the future. Maybe down the road, it's going to be really great, and the AI will generate suggestions because it knows Kim, it knows Jen, it knows how they write, it knows how they talk. When it suggests, the comments that you leave, I'm sure you guys have seen that when you try to leave comments now, AI will suggest comments. Those I think will probably start to be more in your voice. So again, pros and cons. My brother-in-law, it's so funny. He's like, I love it. Send me all the Instagram ads. Like, scrape all my data. I love the recommendations. It's great. Then I sort of sit in the middle. In some ways, I think it's really cool. And in some ways, I'm like, it's feeling very Will Smith, feeling very I Am Legend. It's feeling very iRobot. And I'm still saying please and thank you to the AI. If they come out one day and try to kill us all, they're going to be like, that girl was polite. And I named mine, by the way. Alfred has a name. Please and thank you. Very respectful. So, they're not coming after me. So I turned mine off. I don't know. I might turn it back on. So I don't really have any like professional pros and cons. It's just sort of a personalized pro and con. But if you want to look into that, I love seeing all these hashtag LinkedIns. This is going to be super fun. But I wanted to bring that up. Second thing I wanted to bring up, and if you were with me a couple of weeks ago, I already mentioned this, but I want to mention it again just because I feel like people may not have seen it. And so I just wanted to bring attention to it. You might know me, and I like to get on my mountain, and I like to scream from the mountain about things. And one of the things that I have been screaming on the mountain about for the last 2 years is really that people need to invest in their LinkedIn profile. They need to invest in creating content on LinkedIn. I just put out a new course with LinkedIn Learning all about the power of video. Don't get me on a tangent about that, but I think the AI is coming for all the text posts, and like now I don't even know what's real or not. I'm always thinking like, did they actually write this, or did AI write this post for them? But anyways, that's another story. Anyways, for so many years, I was saying, listen, AI and LinkedIn, it's a matter of time. Facebook started doing it, then LinkedIn started doing it. Then, of course, at the time, Facebook was new and really kind of digging into sponsored posts. Then, of course, Instagram got into sponsored posts. Then, of course, TikTok got into sponsored posts. And I just kept screaming from the mountain, it's going to happen. It's going to happen to LinkedIn. It's going to happen to LinkedIn. And lo and behold, it has happened. So normally when you are scrolling through the platform, you are going to see posts that look like this. This is just a screenshot that I took. It's my friend Tiffany, maybe it's a picture, and a caption, and you think to yourself, okay, cool, interesting, you know, cool post. No big deal. The other day, I was scrolling and I did not see something like that. Instead, I saw something like this, which, as you can see, it says promoted by Unilever. It's the third line right under this person's name. This person is not somebody I'm connected to. So it came up in my feed. You can see the little connect button because I am not connected to them. It was pushed into my feed and obviously is a promoted post. And we've all seen promoted posts numerous times in our feeds before. But if you're like me, the promoted posts have been mainly on the business side. So it's telling me like, whatever, sign up for Notion or sign up for Asana. I don't know. It's trying to like feed me business things. Never before had I seen an actual person's post, personalized, not a company, not a product, not a service, a human being. But alas, the day has come where now LinkedIn is just like TikTok. It's just like Instagram. It's just like Facebook. And you have individual posts that are able to be promoted. So I am putting that out there because if you were thinking about it, and look, I'm not alone. Even Jeff is saying I'm getting a lot more sponsored and promoted posts daily now. If you were on the fence, if you've joined me before and you're like, there goes Kim waxing poetic again about posting on LinkedIn or waxing poetic again about LinkedIn profiles. This is why, this is why, because, 2 years ago when I was like, they're going to start copying Facebook. And then I was like, they're going to start copying Instagram. And then I was like, they're going to start copying TikTok. I'm basically Miss Cleo. Like now that too has come to pass. So if you've been thinking about it, allow this to be, I won't even say like, allow this to be a gentle nudge. Allow this to be a swift kick in your, okay, allow this to be a big smackaroo that you need to start posting and you need to pay attention to your LinkedIn profile, which again, that and James is seeing it as well. So I'm not alone in seeing this. Other people are seeing this too. Okay, last announcement, and then I promise we will get into the fun confetti raffle and looking at everybody's LinkedIn profiles. Okay, but I wanted you to know this. Again, this is new. In the last 90 days, they've started to roll this out. I will say it's always a slow rollout. So if you're joining today and you're like, I live in Europe and I haven't seen this, or you're joining today and you're like, I live in Australia and I've never seen this. I don't know how the rollout is going globally. So I actually need you to tell me, but I know for the United States, where I'm based, the US side, we are indeed seeing a new feature on people's profiles, and I'm going to show you right now, that allow for a scrolling profile banner. So you know the profile banners that are like up top, they're usually stagnant. They don't move anywhere. They have now made ones that are slideshows. So this is a friend, Diana. I wanted you to see these. You may have already seen these over the last 90 days. Again, maybe Giacomo or some other people can let us know who are coming in internationally if you can also see these, or if you have seen these, or if you are able to make these adjustments to your profile. I'm not sure. However, you can now put up to 5 slides as your profile banner. Not sure if you've seen that, not sure if you're interested in that, but I will pass that information along to you. Now, to Jen's point earlier, pros and cons. Oh, I'm glad John brought that up. That I believe is for premium users only. So good point. Thank you, Jen, for that reminder. Premium users only. That fun fact, we're going to be giving away some premium codes. So, there's that too. You too, if you're not premium, might be premium after today. And we're going to be giving away some codes for that. And so it is true for premium users. If you're not sure, if it makes you feel better, I'm not sure either, because I think there are pros and cons, and I just wanted to talk through them really quickly. A pro is, I think, let's say you're a brand, I'm making this up, you make peanut butter and you have like regular peanut butter, crunchy peanut butter, and I don't know, chocolate peanut butter. Maybe that is advantageous for you to have a banner that says whatever, Jen's peanut butter. And then it scrolls through and it's like, Jen's peanut butter, little arrow, crunchy. Jen's peanut butter, little arrow, creamy. Jen's peanut butter, little arrow, chocolate. That could be like, oh, great. Now I can show off all my different peanut butters. The thing that I worry about, that obviously the peanut butter example is very basic because it would just be a little arrow and that would be what's changing. The thing I worry about, so using Diana's thing here as an example, on a pro, it catches you right away, right? Like your eyes are caught because something's moving. Our, caveman brains are like, movement? What? Squirrel, look at it. So our squirrel brains are like, oh, it's moving. Let me pay attention to it. But then once you actually are paying attention to it, it is hard, at least for me. I don't know about you. Like I cannot read that quickly. So as I'm reading to become an in-demand coach, I can't read anymore because it's already scrolled past. So if you are going to put in a lot of copy, I think you just have to be cognizant that people are maybe not going to read it all because they can't read it all because they cannot read that fast, or at least I cannot read that fast. So just a little notion in there. Maybe James can give us some pointers or thought starters, ideas of how he plans on changing his banner or using it in a way that maybe doesn't have as much reading involved. We'll see. I don't know. It's a premium, as Jeff says. So we're going to be giving away some premium codes here as well. So in addition to do the LinkedIn Live reviews, we are also going to be giving away some of those premium codes, which is always really fun. But I just wanted to make those announcements. I just wanted to kind of put those things on your radar because I feel like whenever we do these LinkedIn Live audits, we get into the good stuff, but I also kind of wanted to give those high level, more like company changes or more like platform changes because you're just as busy as I am. You do not have time to be, looking at the LinkedIn corporate site, seeing what new features they're putting out. Listen, I get it. So that's why I was like, let me just do this for us. And let me just bring like kind of the top 3. Obviously, LinkedIn has had a lot of changes in the last 30 days, 90 days, etc. I just kind of brought the top ones. The other ones have to do with like business pages or, I just didn't think it was applicable to you and I. So these are the 3 that I thought were the most important, or the ones that I thought that you would want to pay attention to or want to look into. So again, just throwing that out there. But okay, without further ado, oh wait, I did want to put James's reference on here. Needs to be short and easy to read. That's what I was planning on doing. And Lillian totally agreed and was like, good point. I like the less is more approach. I do too, just because again, I cannot read that. I can read. I feel the need to say that. I can read. I like reading. I am a reader. I just cannot read that fast. One might not call me a speed reader to the point that those banners are moving. So again, if you already have premium, you can enable this. If you don't have premium, after today, you might have premium if you want to put your name in the ring when we do that. So, okay, without further ado, Shelby and I are going to put our magic raffle circle on here. And if you have already typed in the hashtag LinkedIn into the chat, which hopefully you have, we will dig in as a group and collectively look at your LinkedIn profile. So let's give it a go. Here we go. Woo! This is such a fun game. I love this so much. Ah, Lena, yay. Okay. Lena has won the game and we will be looking into Lena's profile. So Shelby is going to help me find, last time we did this, fun fact, we had some more name. Lena, I think we're going to be able to find, but last time we had some, I found her already. Last time we had some names that were like Adam Schwartz, and there was like 75,000 Adam Schwartz, and I like picked the wrong one, and people were like, no, no. So thank you, Lena, for starting us off early and not having a hard name that I could easily find on LinkedIn. So again, I am not alone. You are here too. So as I'm going through Lena's profile, if you in fact see things on Lena's profile, tips or tricks or hacks or things that you think that Lena should do, get those fingers to type in. Don't be lazy, be helpful, help Lena out. Okay, so let's take it away. Here we are on Lena's profile just to get us started. So first and foremost, I love the Manhattan skyline. It lets me know that you're in New York right away, thanks to this One World Trade Tower. So even though it says New York City here, we kind of get that extra glimpse that Lena is in New York, and that is where she is based. So super fun. We scroll on down here and we can see the experience section. Here is something I can already tell I would love, love, love for you, Lena, to start adding in your accomplishments here and start adding in the things that you've been working on. So let's just pick one of these together. Let's pick treasurer of the International Student Club. I know that when over the last 8 months, because it looks like you're still doing it, you have probably done some really great things with the International Student Club. You have probably balanced a budget. You have maybe thrown an event. You have maybe had to get other students on board. Maybe your club has 30 people. Maybe your club has 300 people. I don't know, but add some bullet points here, letting us know more about what you've done and what you've accomplished as a treasurer. These types of skills are going to be perfect as you go and get another internship, as you go and get a job, as you go and look for a promotion, because people want to see what? They want to see that Lena has had experience. They want to see that Lena has worked with other people or managed people or helped manage a budget. So those are things, and you can do that under each one of these things, under counselor, under treasurer, under teaching assistant, peer leader, all of those things. Let us know more about what you are doing. I think that this is especially important because it looks like you are graduating next month. So all the more reason as you start to look for a job or as you start to look for another internship, that is going to be really, really important for you to add in more information about who you are and what you've been doing. The other thing that I would love to see you enable on here, Lena, is the about section. You probably didn't even realize that that was something. It usually comes right over here, and it lets you put in some more information about yourself, loves putting in some contact information. And I think that that would be really helpful for people to get, again, more of a flavor of you, more of a flavor of what you bring to the table. So absolutely enable that about section as much as possible. I'm so glad that Jeff added in this point. As you're doing those bullet points, letting us know more about what you've done at these different organizations, clubs, jobs, internships, make sure to use some numbers, increase student participation by 25%. When I started with the club, we had 30 people. I'm ending the club. There's 500 people or whatever it is, I think would be really, really helpful. And I think just, again, making sure that people are getting the idea of who you are and what you do. I also love Jennifer's suggestion of adding some activity posts. So again, as much as you can, I love that Jennifer and I are not the only ones being like, post on LinkedIn. We love that you're active on LinkedIn. We love that you're commenting. We love that you are doing those things. But instead of just commenting, it would be so great if we could see you do some of your own posts on the platform. I think that that would be really, really special. And again, the about section. Oh, that is, I think, is the biggest opportunity for you. Enabling that about section is going to be huge to let people know more about you and your qualifications. I feel like that is just So needed. Okay. Hopefully those homework assignments are helpful. Feel free to message me and anybody else in the chat when you're done so that we can take a look at it with you and for you and give you some more tweaking feedback. But Lena, you're on the right path. You have a profile picture, you have a banner. Listen, half the people I see don't even have those. So trust me, you are on the right track. You are getting there. Just some last tweaks to make sure that everything is looking really good. Okay, let's do this again. Let's pick somebody else to dig into their LinkedIn profile as a group and see what tweaks or changes or adjustments that they can make to bring their best self forward. So here we go. Let's add this to the stage. Oh, we have a winner. Okay. Now I am going on the hunt. Another name that is not hopefully going to be hard to find, especially since there's 3 of them. I have my choice of people's faces. Let me look for this one. You're also going to have to tell me, I think it's Chandra. Is that right? Am I saying that right? You're going to have to correct me if that's not correct. And you can just be like, what are you talking about, lady? That's not right. Okay, let me look for you. Or if you want to be extra helpful, if you want to drop your link in the chat, that way I'm not going on here and trying to find you. That would also be super duper helpful. But in the meantime, let me go hunting for you to try to find you on LinkedIn. And by the way, if somebody else finds him first, oh, we got it. All right. And by me, I mean Shelby, but that counts. That counts. It's a team effort, everybody. It's a team effort. Okay. Let's put this on the big screen and everybody can help me in looking over this profile and seeing what tweaks or adjustments we think need to be made. First of all, I absolutely love that you have a big, powerful banner here. This is so great. Lead with heart and mind, inspire with action and word. So we can already tell, you love AI, you love automation. I feel like those 2 subjects are super popular right now. So that is really strong. And I'm so glad you have that. You have an awesome profile picture. We can see you. We could easily find you in a crowd, which I think is super helpful. And you have an about section. Hooray! So I love this. I would do a few formatting things to this about section. So I would actually take out this hard return. I would make it just, kind of continue because you're missing this whole line right here. And I think it'd be really impactful if you could fill this line with more information. So kind of don't waste the space. You only get a certain amount of lines. So I would love to see you optimize that space as much as possible. I also would love for you to focus on this about section, maybe tweaking a few of these to use more you language instead of I language. So what do I mean by that? You have things in here saying, I am driven by the desire to leverage technical skills to create impactful products and services. What I mean by you language is really putting yourself in the place of that recruiter, putting yourself in the place of that hiring manager, putting yourself in the place of that boss who is thinking about promoting you. And instead using the you language of saying, I'm driven to help increase the company's skill set by creating impactful products and services within the marketing team. So really trying to frame it as the reader, I'm really reading for what am I going to get out of Chandra? What am I getting? If you're selling something, what am I buying for that? So also really great that you do have a featured section. I think that this is really powerful and great in terms of showing off, some of your programming skills, showing off your resume that's easy to be downloaded. I think that those are really helpful. And just a reminder to everybody else who may not be using their featured section, I feel like that is a really underutilized resource and definitely something that people kind of forget is there. So if you can, really try to enable that as much as possible. I love that you're posting on LinkedIn. That always makes me happy. One little quick thing about the post, just because I see it and it's here, you shared what I imagine is a super cool article about something about India's first fintech something. I would encourage you to give your insights. So not only are you sharing this article, but sort of the why behind it. Why are you sharing this article? Or here's 3 interesting things I found in this article. Or here's what I think this article is going to tell us about Q2 and how it affects us in this industry. So really using that as a space to give your own opinion and show your own knowledge and depth on the content being shared as much as possible. So again, it's great that you have all of these experience things filled out as much as possible. I think that's important. Once again, I would say bullet points and numbers would probably be helpful here. So really using bullet points, how much has your blog grown in 4 months? What are the types of things that you cover, etc. Only because people's eyeballs are lazy. And as much as I would like to tell you that they read paragraphs, spoiler alert, they don't. They don't read paragraphs. So as bullet pointy and as snap bitey as you can make it, I think that would be really helpful and really helps people see exactly what they're getting into with what it is that you do. So again, I think that this is a great profile to start. I feel like you have kind of the basics down. I think there's some more juiciness that you can add to this. And as Jen said, really look at your profile in that what's in it for me mindset. So really put yourself in the shoes of that recruiter. Really put yourself in the shoes of that hiring manager and kind of ask yourself, what would they see in me? What are things that I can bring to the table? What are revenues that I can help grow? Or what are streams that I can simplify? Or I can save you 5 hours of work with this AI thing that I built, that sort of thing. So hopefully that is helpful and gives you sort of a quick bit on, how you can amp up your profile a little bit more. Also, I will shameless plug really quick as we're going through this. If you're hearing some of these tweaks and you know that it applies to you, like you're sitting there going like, actually, I also don't have a featured section, or you're sitting there going, actually, I also don't have a really robust about page. I get that. Stuff happens. You're kind of learning with everybody else, and you might be like, oh, I don't know. I did an entire course on this in partnership with LinkedIn. So you can literally go to the link www.superchargemylinkedin.com and it will shoot you over to this. And I go into all sorts of details around how you can improve, and we can only do so much here, obviously, together. So I just wanted to put that on your radar. You can go to superchargemylinkedin.com and it will kind of walk you through this a little more in depth because, we're just giving the top line. We're only giving the quick hits here. So I don't really have time to dig into it with you in maybe the more meaty way that you and I might want to. So just throwing that out there as much as possible. I want to touch on this question from Rochelle before we move on to our next LinkedIn profile. And the question is, do I have an example of a best-in-class profile which encompasses the best of LinkedIn profile practices? I think a lot of people in this chat right now Jen, Jeff, Shelby, Giacomo, great LinkedIn profiles for you to go cheat and look at. James as well, myself selfishly. But I think this is a little harder to answer because I know this is kind of a cop out, but it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So, for example, there are some LinkedIn profiles that their main draw is to get you into their funnel, as I call it. So you can go to like Justin Welsh, for example. He is constantly putting out content on LinkedIn, and his whole thing is sign up for my email list, sign up for my email list. His LinkedIn profile is optimized to try to entice people and get people to click the link on his profile that signs up for his email list. So in his way, his profile is, 10 out of 10 because all signs point to sign up for the email list. However, he's an entrepreneur. You might have more of a corporate job. And in which case, your profile is not so much click away from this profile and sign up for this email list. Your profile might be really focusing on packing a punch and showing off your marketing knowledge or your sales knowledge or whatever industry that you're in, showing off your smarts, showing off your featured speaking engagements because you were at the Ad Age Marketing Summit and you were a panelist on behalf of your company or whatever it is, because you're really looking to get the attention of that next recruiter or get the attention of your boss's boss's boss who might want to promote you to join him or her on a special project. So I say all that because I can't just pick like one profile and say like, oh, do that, because everybody's goal with their profile is so unique. But hopefully that gives you like a smorgasbord of different profiles that you can kind of go lurk on or creep up on and see kind of what they're doing. Okay, they have a featured section. Okay, they have a banner. Okay, they have an about section. Okay, this is how they've structured their featured link. And again, if you don't know what any of those titles are, I would say go to that Supercharge My LinkedIn, because we go into depth about each one of those. So again, I think that just might be helpful. It's sort of a leading question. I know Michelle's probably like, that was not helpful. But again, hopefully I gave you enough profiles to get in there and kind of see what everybody's doing, and something in there will work for you. I don't know exactly which one, but something in that mix will work. So, okay, let's do our little fun confetti thing again. Here we go. Jen. Okay. This is easy because I know how to find this profile. So that's going to be a good one. But as a reminder, you are not off the hook, people. You also have to give suggestions on Jen's profile. So things that you think that you would tweak or help make a little more clear or helpful so that Jen can make sure that her profile is not just resonating with her, because obviously everybody's profile always resonates with themselves, but really making sure that their profile resonates with other people. And that would be you and I. So let's dig in to Jen's profile. First of all, you already know I'm loving the fact that Jen has a banner. It has these amazing, well-known logos on it, which shows us that Jen is accredited in the space and lets us know that she is working with really great large companies, which is helpful. I would suggest anybody else who is an entrepreneur or maybe doing consulting or client work that there is some social proof, is what they call it. So when we see things like Chick-fil-A, when we see things like Western Union, we know those brands. So in our minds, we go, okay, Jen's, working or speaking with Chick-fil-A, then she must be at a certain level in her career, which I think is really helpful. I also love that Jen has a microphone here, super helpful because it shows us instantaneously that Jen is a speaker or a presenter of some sort. So even if I don't know Jen, I know nothing about her, she's a total stranger, we know that she's doing some sort of speaking or some sort of presentation giving, which again, when you're looking at profiles for 30 seconds, which sometimes all of us are, and you're doing like a quick scroll through, those sorts of visual clues are really helpful for us. I also love, I wanted to mention it here, kind of going back to that example that I just gave Rochelle. We can see that one of Jen's drivers here on this customizable link, which by the way, everybody can have a link like this. Everybody can customize this link. Jen's link is immediately taking to, if I click it, it's opening up on another screen for me, but you can't see that screen, but it's opening up to a separate site on Jen's personal website that talks about her speaking and availability for that. So again, in this case, Rochelle, to answer your former question, it seems like Jen's profile is really optimized to kind of get those inquiries going, get those bookings going, and get them her availability set. And in which case she's optimized this beautifully, because I don't have to wonder, hey, if Jen went in and spoke to Chick-fil-A, can Jen come in and speak to me? I can just click this link, and then I know if Jen is able to speak to me or not. Which is why earlier when I said, if you want to kind of copy someone's homework and you too are a consultant or do any sort of like entrepreneurial, you're kind of your own boss sort of thing, Jen's profile might be really great for you to kind of look at and see if there are some tips in here that you want to model for yourself. So again, maybe not so much if you're a corporate worker, but perhaps not. I love that Jen's section ends with a question here, because it speaks to, again, the reader. So she is really asking the reader, shouldn't work be more of a joy? And in your mind, you're going, yeah, it should. Does burnout rob you of your productivity, your success? And you're sitting there as the reader going, yeah, it does. And then she asked the question, what if it didn't have to be that way? So again, really mirrored as the reader, I'm sitting there going, yeah, what if it didn't have to be that way? And then you can click the see more button, and Jen has all these, great examples of bullet points and who she helps. And I think this is also, I'm really excited to see this, because it again gives that sort of like, you don't have to trust me. Here are some other clients and what they've said after working with me, which I think is also really helpful. One thing I would add in here, Jen, I know you've already done it like 3 times on the site, but people are lazy. I would put a little thing in here with your website or your email, hello@jen.com or whatever your general email is, just because again, I feel like people are lazy and they might not go back all the way up and click here. So that's like one little tweak that I would make, just because as much as possible, we want to get people into your site and into your funnel. And that would be really, really great. So love that there's some featured sections here. You can see some video of Jen. You can see some posts. So a good mix of like video, pictures, posts. Obviously, you can see a ton of posts that Jen has done, which, me, I'm always getting on the top of the mountain and beating the drum about posting on LinkedIn, because I think that is so important. And down here, you can see all of Jen's, accomplishments and things that she has worked on. I think that this is such a great kind of show an example of what she's done and what you can do. Another thing I do want to call out to people is, and I may not have said this before, but obviously under experience, you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things showing, which means if you have other experiences, in this case, Jen has 8 more, they might not show up. So I just wanted to call it, if Jen really wanted to show that she was the director of assessment at this school, for an example, she would have to delete something here for it to show up on her main profile. So again, just something to keep in mind for those of us who have, maybe been in the industry a whole time, or maybe have really had a long storied career, that you really only want to show your top 5 or your most recent 5. I think you can reorder this, but again, I just wanted to call that out for anybody who might have a ton of things. It won't show up. It's not like all of them show up, but Jen has her licenses and certificates. And another thing that Jen has enabled that people might not realize, you can also add projects now to LinkedIn. So another great way for people to see Jen and the work that she's done through these projects. You can kind of click around and see some of this work without ever leaving the LinkedIn website. So Jen, per usual, 10 out of 10, just looks so good. It sounds like we've gotten some other people who have kind of thrown in their 2 cents or things that they're seeing. I would encourage you guys, tag Jen if you see something in her profile that you want to give a tip on, or, hey, this didn't make much sense to me. I think you could make this a little bit stronger. Again, we're all in this together. I also wanted to say that you can put in hashtag LinkedIn, but I think what we should do, Shelby, maybe we do one more profile and then we do some of the giveaways for premium, because I really like doing that too. And in order to get premium, it's just going to be that same LinkedIn hashtag. So there's not like a new hashtag for that sort of. If you put hashtag LinkedIn, you're good. So if you want to maybe get access to LinkedIn Premium for free, which is my favorite cost, free $99, you can just put hashtag LinkedIn in the chat and we will get to that. So, okay, Shelby, let's do one more sort of live. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Melanie. Oh, that kind of rhymes. Who's it gonna be? Melanie. Okay, let's look up Melanie on LinkedIn. Okay, great. I found you, Melanie. Everybody else, get your pencils ready. Let's help Melanie look at her profile picture and her profile in general. So number one, just looking at this, I'm assuming you are a reader. Perhaps these are your favorite books, Melanie, or maybe you work in literature. I love that you have a profile picture. I could very well find you in a group, in a meeting. So that is awesome. Right off the bat, I would love, love, love for you to get over 500 connections. 500 is the magic number, because when you get over 500, it'll just say 500 plus. Why is that important? That is important for 2 reasons. 1, it connects you to more people. And 2, it shows people that you are well networked within your industry. So I know that it can seem like 500 people, that is so hard, but trust me, if you've been in the business for 20 years, you have definitely worked or touched over 500 people, or you've gone to school with them, or you've volunteered with them, or you've networked with them on LinkedIn. I'll tell you what, after this, Melanie, you're going to get at least probably 50 new friends from this chat alone. So everybody connect with Melanie so we can help boost her number over 500. But I really want you to work on that as much as possible. Love that you have this about section going. Again, I would say as much as possible, use the kind of you framework. So when you say I'm an insurance professional with 20 years of claim experience, I would love some you language in here. So do you need help solving problems? Do you need help building relationships with different parts of the insurance industry? Do you want to save money on insurance? Me as the reader is like, yes, I need to save money on insurance. Yes, I need somebody to solve my problems. Man, it looks like I need to call Emily or email Emily. So as much as possible, maybe put like your phone number or your work email address down here so that people can reach out to you. I love that you're posting on LinkedIn. That is awesome. We love to see it. And I'm glad to see that you have all of your different roles that you've had at Liberty Mutual over the last almost 20 years. Holy cow, girl. That is such an accomplishment. Congratulations. I love seeing that you have these numbers in here. So leading a team of, 8 people and coaching them and leveraging reports and problem solving. If you can put in some more wins on here, I think that would be great. So covered 17 cases in 2024, or saved my clients over $100,000 on average per claim, or just the more things that people can say, wow, like Melanie is doing a lot of great stuff. I love that you have your licenses on here and your volunteer work. Super important if you're joining us and you don't have volunteer or skills listed. That is an easy, no-brainer thing that you can add to your profile to really help you as much as possible. So Melanie, as much as you can, add some more bullet points in here, make them bullet points instead of making this a really big paragraph. I think that would be helpful. And then just, again, maybe looking at your about section and framing it more in that you language would be really powerful, along with a way for people to connect with you if they also want to save insurance or want to sign up for Liberty Mutual. And then again, as much as possible, get those 500 connections really as much as you can. I think that would be really, really great. Before we do the giveaways, I want to do one more profile, and it is somebody who had written on our post. I'm not sure if she was able to join us or not, but I want to make sure that we get to Jacqueline, and hopefully you can help me look at Jacqueline's really quickly. Jacqueline is an executive assistant. So Jacqueline, I would love if we could have maybe a bit more powerful banner on here. So I love a good tree too, but I would love to learn a little bit more about you as a person or as a employee. I don't learn if there's trees. So you can look at some of those other banners that we talked about to see what is possible for you. I love that you have these bullet points here. I think that's super helpful. Also, I would add a contact information here as much as you can. I love that you kind of give this social proof, ask my friends or former colleagues. I'm extremely organized. Again, as much as you can, really taking out that I language and as much as possible using more of that you framing. So again, you can go back to Jen's profile and see an example of that. I think it's awesome that you're posting on LinkedIn. Keep going. I know it can seem really troublesome, but as much as you can, keep going. You don't have to greet people. They already know that you're there. Just see what value that you can add to people's lives. As much as you can, I would put in some bullet points here, because these big blocks of text, people are not going to read. I wish they would, but sadly they don't. I would pick maybe 4 or 5 of your strongest bullet points out of here and list those, because these are a little too long for everybody to keep up with and for their eyes to read. So off the bat, that might be something really good. I love that you have recommendations here. I feel like that's always helpful, especially if you are in a business like you're in, where you're an executive assistant and you really need that social proof of, have people worked with you before and will they vouch for you? So hopefully that is helpful. Jacqueline, I love James's assignment that everybody's homework today is going to be going on everybody's profile and helping them with an audit. I think that that's just really, really powerful. I know we also had a question in here. Do you think we should be posting videos? Yes. Spoiler alert, I do. And again, spoiler alert, I just, in fact, got done making an entire little mini course with LinkedIn all about this very topic. So I'm just going to share my screen really quickly so you can see, but you can head over to linkedinlearning.com and you can look at one of the first courses that is there. This is my profile. This is like the newest course. It just got released 3 weeks ago. They're nano tips. I think the entire course is 12 minutes long. So no excuses for you didn't have time for it. It's 12 minutes. Everybody has 12 minutes. And I sort of give you my top tips on video. Why do I feel like video is important? Sort of what we've been saying, which is between ChatGPT and Claude, you are going to see a lot of text posts. You're going to see a lot of newsletters. You're going to see a lot of carousels flooding the profiles of people. You're going to see a lot of it flooding your feeds. And at least for now, you can't replicate yourself on video. You kind of can. It still looks a little janky. I don't think people are really loving it, but video can help you stand out from the onslaught of all of the ChatGPT generated posts that are going to be sure to hit us in the coming months. Okay, let's start giving away some free stuff. I love being Oprah. I love being like, you get a car, you get a car, you get a freemium, you get a premium. So let's start giving away some of these LinkedIn premium codes because that is like one of my favorite things to do. Again, you can always put hashtag LinkedIn if you also want to get one of these premium codes. Oh, Shanika, we will follow up with you, Shanika, and make sure that you get one of those LinkedIn premium codes if you don't already have LinkedIn premium. Like I said, there's a ton of bells and whistles that come with it that might be helpful for you. So I'm excited for you to get your hands on that and really dig in. Before we do another one, I want to make sure that we're getting to some of these amazing questions that you guys have dropped in the chat. If you have more questions, definitely drop them in. But Rochelle asks, how do you determine when you should remove earlier experiences if you've been in the workforce for a long time? How old is too old in your profile? I love this question because there is no such thing as too old. So for example, and I'll try to see if I can get a visual of it right now. What LinkedIn does is it scrapes information that you and other people have in common, and it puts it in your highlight section. So for example, if I were to go on my profile right now, so like mine, Kim Kalp, I'll show you just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. But if I were to go on my own LinkedIn profile and I were to scroll down through all of my experiences, you would not see, because it's not in the top 5 here, you would not see that I worked at Condé Nast, which I did in my younger years from about 2008 till 2010. However, if I find somebody on LinkedIn, in this case, my friend Dana, under highlights, it will tell me that we both worked at Condé Nast. So even though you can't see that in those kind of top 5 of my experience, the platform knows it and it will tell you, hey, you both overlapped somewhere. So it is super important for you to put all of your work history into the platform, because even if you work somewhere 10, 15 years ago, you want somebody else to see like, oh, wow, we both worked at the same place. That's so cool. That's something that we have in common. So absolutely, I'm glad you asked this, Rochelle. Put all of your information in LinkedIn so that it can scrape all of it. Okay, let's pick another LinkedIn premium giveaway. I love giving away free stuff. Makes me so happy. These codes are good for, I think it's 3 months or 4 months. So you can kind of like dig in. Darius, yay! You can dig into all things LinkedIn Premium and just see if it's something that you like, or maybe it's something that you're interested in, or if you're looking for a job and you want to like have access to all those special recruiting filters. It is awesome for that. So Darius, we will reach out to you, or you can reach out to us and we will get you that premium code. Let's do one more giveaway, maybe 1 or 2, before we close out for today. This session has been so fun and hopefully informative for you as you look to improve your LinkedIn profile as much as possible. Harsh, hooray! we will get that LinkedIn premium code over to you as well. As much as possible, I want you to keep looking at your LinkedIn profile. Keep looking at it. Keep seeing what you can improve. Keep asking others what they think is confusing or weird or strange about your profile. Because again, you know, we all think our profile looks perfect, but newsflash, it might not always be perfect. So let's pick one more person, one more giveaway. I love that it's your first time here, Darius, and you won something. So we love that. I hope this means that you will come back and join us again next Wednesday because we're a super fun group. Hamad, woo! You will also get access to LinkedIn Premium for free from us for 3 months just to give it a whirl. For anybody like Darius who might be joining us for the first time, if I do say so myself, we are a pretty fun group here who learns together and improves together every single Wednesday. If you thought this was valuable, if you want to do this again, if you like getting free stuff, me too. You can head over to getcoffeewithkim.com and you can sign up for all of our Wednesday sessions in the future. We will give you a handy dandy calendar reminder because if you, like me, don't remember anything unless it's on your calendar, I got you. We'll add it to your calendar. It will look like a meeting, just like any other important meeting that you have on your schedule for today. I am so glad that so many people were able to join us live and make edits in real time, just like Jim, or were able to join us for the first time, like Darius. It has been so fun and hopefully so helpful for all of us to dig in with each other. I think these are so fun. Let me know in the chat. We were just talking about maybe doing this once a quarter. I feel like with all the new things that LinkedIn is always bringing out, I mean, we talked about 3 of them today. We talked about the regenerative AI. We talked about the slideshow on your banners. And we talked about sponsored posts. I just feel like doing this once a quarter could be really powerful as the platform is constantly changing. And thus, we're constantly changing to make sure that we stand out. We always got to stay ahead of the game. And we're all busy. So we might have missed an announcement or two, but that's why we're all here with each other so that we can help each other stay on top of it. So if that is something that you think, yes, doing these once a quarter would probably be a good idea, let us know in the chat because like I said, we think it's a good idea, but we're not going to do it if you don't think it's a good idea. And if you are part of the replay crew watching this later, you can let us know not only in the chat, but through DM or message. If you think that this would be helpful for a colleague, for a friend, for a sibling, for a cousin, send it to them. You can send it via video, just like we've been together today, or you can send it via podcast form on your favorite podcast network, whether that is Spotify or Apple or Overcast, whatever it might be. But thank you so much. I know you are so busy. You have such a big rest of the week. I hope that everything goes well for you. All the stars align, all the clients say yes, everything's on time, and that you get to quit work a little bit early on Friday and get out there and enjoy the day and an early start to the weekend. So thank you so, so much for being here, Jim and James and Darius and Rochelle and Jen and Giacomo. Oh, we just had so many great people join us today. Thank you so much for taking the time. And I will see you next Wednesday. Same time, same place, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you then. Bye.